Welcome to my basement. I'm just back from a family vacation in Japan, and in the 14 days in the land of Nintendo, I also found about 3 hours to do some thrifting. In this episode, I'll show you some footage of the different retro game shops I visited, and then I'll go through what I actually ended up buying at the end. Let's dive in! After about 14 hours among the clouds, we arrived in Tokyo. We opted to stay in Taito, Tokyo for the first days of our trip. This is the family-friendly part of town. Excellent place with good food, nice temples, and also a small local hobby-off store, which actually included a small section of retro goodness as well. The real thrifting didn't start though until I visited Akihabara, aka the Electric Town. This district is known for manga, anime, and of course video games. Initially this was a section of Tokyo where you could buy radio parts, and that legacy is still kept alive by a shop close to the Akihabara station. Electric Town also have actual arcade cabinets and pinball machines as well, both old and new. The first real game store I hit was the Super Potato, which, given that this is the potato holidays in Norway, seemed to fit nicely. This was easily one of the more impressive and interesting specialized game shops I visited on this trip. It seemed to have everything ever released for any Nintendo console or handheld. The only downside is that many of the games was put on a shelf in such a way that you did not see the label or picture on the cartridge. This made it a bit harder to find stuff yourself. It also had a really good selection of Game & Watches. These retro handhelds has a special place in my heart, and at this point I have nearly collected them all. Some hardware as well, and to my surprise I found a boxed Atari Lynx for silly money. The Famicom robot was also present. In the upper floor of this store they had a selection of arcade machines on free play. A much smaller store, but maybe my favorite of them all, was Beep. And the reason for that was that it didn't just contain all the ordinary Nintendo stuff, but also real MSX machines, games, and even real X68000s. The X68000 machines were priced at 168,000 yen, or about $1,117 each, and also a tad too big to bring on a plane home. It also makes me happy to see all these MSX machines in the wild. And even a small selection of games. Rambo for MSX at $66, or maybe Saxon for $231. Nice. Retro Game Camp is also a pretty small store, but again, one of my favorites. Raskebøtte. Ikke sikkert den funker. The reason this time was that they had displayed all their games in a good way, so that you easily found what you were looking for. And and they had a lot of Famicom and Super Famicom titles. This is also the only place where I found a decent collection of games for the Famicom disk system. One of the dreams for this trip was to find a cheap PC Engine console, but every one I found was boxed and a bit pricey. This actually ended up as the store where I bought the most games. Sometimes there's even surprises, like when I walked into the third floor of a shopping mall and found a small retro game store in one corner. They had a good selection of Super Famicom games, both loose and boxed, for silly prices. The box titles were easily half the price or even cheaper than in Akihabara. Even though I don't usually buy boxed Nintendo games, I still ended up buying a few, as you will see at the end of this video. On the 5th floor in the same mall you will find the SURUGA-YA. This was one of the largest retro game stores I visited, with a wide variety of games for Nintendo, Sega and Sony, ranging from the Famicom up to and including the PS5. They also had some hardware. A Sega Saturn apparently costs around 8,000 to 10,000 yen in Japan, which is in the $50 to $65 range. Famicom, Super Famicom, Dreamcast, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 2, Fight Sticks. We didn't spend all our time in Tokyo, but visited Kyoto, Osaka and Okinawa as well. But during this time I only had time to stop by a book-off store in Kyoto. But what a store! In the front they had some bins with the different cables and controllers and a few loose consoles. But further back in the store is where the gold was hidden. Good collection of Nintendo games, PC Engine games, PlayStation games, and another boxed PC Engine. Also a TV Boy, which is an unlicensed Atari 2600 clone packing 126 games. All in all, a really nice store containing a lot more games and hardware than I expected. So just back from Japan, and I just thought I would go through what I actually bought while I'm still remembering where I bought it. So yeah, in total I think I ended up with 24 games, and I will look at them one by one from the store I actually bought them. So yeah, the first store I visited was actually a hobby-off store in Taito, Tokyo. I did not think they had any video games at all actually, but they had quite a few game-related plush toys and yeah, figurines. So I went inside, and yeah, they had a small section in the back of the store, and I actually found 3 games there. One of them was Star Soldier for the Famicom. This is a shoot 'em up. I'm actually more familiar with the MSX version, but I have to admit that at least what I've seen previously, the gameplay and music on the Famicom version is a bit better than on the MSX. The second game I found was for the Super Famicom, and it's Rockman X3. I have Rockman X from before, and as you will see a bit later, this actually started a bit of a trend for my later purchases of games in Japan. Then at some point during the trip, we went to Akihabara in Tokyo, or Electric Town. We actually ended up going there 3 times during the visit, but yeah. My second favorite store in Japan, at least that I found, was Super Potato. And as you might see here, I focused on Super Famicom in this store, and I found some pretty cool games. Not very rare, but yeah. Super EDF, pretty good shoot 'em up actually. So looking forward to play this. Then I found Lemmings, and yeah, I don't really expect it to be very good and playable on the Super Famicom, but once I saw it, and being a huge Lemmings fan, I just had to pick it up. Then I bought Donald in Maui Mallard, and Disney game, of course, produced by Capcom, and yeah, it's a pretty standard platformer. Then we have Gradius 3, another shoot 'em up. I don't think I have actually played this one before, so yeah, looking forward to that. Then I bought Donkey Kong 2 and the initial Donkey Kong. I have Donkey Kong 3 from before on the Super Nintendo, the PAL version. So yeah, that wraps up my second favorite store in all of Japan, namely Super Potato. Then we come to my favorite store, at least based on the amount of stuff I bought. This is from Retro Game Camp, which is also a store in Akihabara, Tokyo. So yeah, just viewing them randomly here. It's Aladdin for the Super Famicom. And we have Rockman X2. And we have Rockman 5. And we have Rockman 6. We have 1942. And Pac-Man for the Famicom. And we have Rockman 2 for the Famicom. And we have Rockman 4 for the Famicom. And as you might have been noticing, there's a lot of Rockman games. I even found number 3. And the initial Rockman game for the Nintendo Famicom. Yeah, this is probably the most expensive game I bought, and as you might know, the Rockman games were sold in Europe and in America under the Mega Man branding. That concluded the games I bought from Retro Game Camp. Then I picked up 2 other Super Famicom games. I don't remember the store. I have to look at some footage to see if I can figure it out. But yeah, it's Rockman 7 and Thunder Spirits, which is another shoot 'em up or a vertical scrolling shooter. Then I went to another store in Akihabara. It was a pretty small one actually, but it's the best rated on Google Maps. And I found a lot of MSX games actually. Just bought this one. It's a bit of a funky game, but yeah, it's so rare that I see MSX games, so I just had to pick this one up. I also saw the Rambo game for the MSX in the box, complete. Probably shown footage of that earlier in this video. It was 10,000 yen and the box was pretty large, so I didn't buy it. And also the Rambo game on the MSX one, I think it was, isn't really that good, but yeah, it was really good to see MSX games in the wild. They also had both the X68000 hardware and a lot of games for the system as well, so yeah, the Beep shop is really recommended if you are visiting Tokyo and Akihabara. We also visited the Shinjuku district, which of course contains a pretty famous national garden. Really nice place, but once we were finished looking at that, we just went to a shopping mall, and yeah, I stumbled upon a really small, actually, thrift store. They had a lot of figurines and stuff, and also some retro games, and they had a lot of boxed Super Famicom games. I don't collect that, so it wasn't initially that interesting, but since they were priced so reasonably, actually cheaper than loose carts in Akihabara district, I actually ended up buying 3 of them. The first one is Grand Prix, Formula 1 Grand Prix. It's not a really great game for the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom. As you may see from the pictures, it's a top-down racing game, and yeah, it's kind of funky because it's really top-down and you don't see much of the track. So I'm not sure how well it actually plays. I have to figure that one out. Then I found this one. It's a Puzzle Bobble, one of the games playing on the Bubble franchise, I guess. I haven't really tested this one. It says that an item is missing. I can feel that the cart is inside, so I'm guessing that the manual is missing on this one. Then I found another classic, Space Invaders, the original game. So yeah, it's just cool to have this in a super nice box, complete and all. And yeah, it was released either to celebrate the 40th anniversary of this game or the 40th anniversary of Taito. So this store was on the 3rd floor of this shopping mall. On the 5th floor there was actually a really big and pretty nice game store as well. It was called SURUGA-YA, and they had a lot of games ranging from the Famicom all the way up to Nintendo 64 and GameCube and PlayStation 3, I think. Wide selection of systems and also games. So yeah, ended up buying 24 games, as I said in the start here. And when it comes to prices, I will just make a short table and display that for a few seconds after this section of the video, like right now. When I went to Tokyo, I didn't really know what to expect with regards to the retro video game market. Looking at other creators in the past, I had heard about the hard off stores and thought that was the only great place to find games. But it turns out that there's a lot of specialized stores that carry retro games and that also other off stores like Hobby Off and Book Off also is worth a visit. The trick in the end was just to search for games on Google Maps in the areas you're currently at to figure out if there's something close that you should pay a visit. When it comes to the prices, we can see that yes, they have internet in Japan as well, and they are very well aware of the prices on eBay. But there are still advantages if you're already in Japan. There is an excellent selection. You got to inspect the item before the purchase, and you don't have to pay shipping and VAT. Here in Norway, we have to pay an additional 25% on all foreign purchases from eBay. I ended up paying $395 for all the games on site in Japan. If I were to buy the cheapest alternative on eBay right now, it would cost me about $845 when all is said and done. But the prices are not the whole picture, of course. Just being able to walk into these specialized stores, look at the excellent selection, find stuff you haven't seen before, it's a pretty amazing experience. Well, that's it for this time. If you enjoyed plotting along, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe before you leave. See you next time.